Everywhere I look these days, I see a video or a news article that says EA is in massive trouble or EA is finally dying. At the recent news that Battlefield 5's pre-orders are like 80% under Call of Duty's and Red Dead Redemption 2's, which we found out later that might not even be true in the first place, or the recent backlash from Battlefield 5 just altogether. I'm sick of it. Okay, I'm just sick of it. So this video is going to answer the question: is all this stuff just a fairy tale, or is it actually, on paper, a reality? So I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction of EA, what's going on, and then towards the latter half of the video, I'm going to look at the facts to see if this is just make-believe or not. So without further ado, roll the video. EA, Electronic Arts. There's been a large movement against EA lately. What used to be many gamers' favorite company of old, today's EA seems like it's a shadow of what used to be. Some would say a shadow that's blocking out the greatness of gaming. But are they really that bad? People have got their reasons for feeling one way or another about EA, regardless if it's a hostile attitude or simply indifference. Others enjoy watching EA crash land time and time again. Perhaps they feel singled out by the company's somewhat misplaced public statements lately on making people feel kind of insignificant or telling people what to do. It could also be that gamers just don't like the direction that EA has taken their games, as they usually come bundled with a variety of extra monetization windows that can be viewed as exploitative or at least somewhat money hunting. Other games like Madden asking full price for a basic rehash of last year's version, or FIFA. Then there's the questionable design in games we used to love as well. They love DRM too, and they try to monopolize the market by cornering it. And some of their games dip too deep into the micro-gambling honeypot, covering up the game in something sticky. Other people may be wary of pre-ordering games just in general, as the pre-release culture has risen to a boiling point when handfuls of games aren't exactly what gamers expect them to be. Time and time again, we see the vision of what a game could be in a trailer, a reveal event, a documentary, something to that extent, yet the game turns out to be something different. Part of that may be that pre-order bonuses have been taken too far at times, alongside the development of questionable and expensive post-release content practices. Begs the question, is EA beginning to die out in the eyes of gamers? EA is no stranger to scrutiny when it comes to these issues or the handfuls of other complaints gamers have had with their corporate strategy through the years. Somewhere along the lines though, EA is the one company that slowly opened up one of the biggest cans of worms hidden from the industry for such a long period of time. The fact that video games are not just video games anymore. Games are issues, they're feelings, and they're products of conflict. And with the recent unfortunate Battlefield quarrel, laden with enough bickering, hate, squabbling, and strife for any one person to possibly sift through, all of these issues have come to light in a big way. It has resulted in heavy backlash that may have greatly affected its pre-order sales, among many other things. Some say it's the beginning of the end for EA, especially given the fact that they've been wrapped up in so much other controversy in the past few years. It seems a bit dramatic, but every great fall has its beginning crumble, doesn't it? This industry has never been as outspoken, demanding, and entitled as it is today. At no point in our history have simple video games received so much drama, hate, love, support, backlash, contempt, admiration, and exposure than they do today. If you make a mistake, stick your hand in the cookie jar at the wrong time, or do something that generally will not go over well en masse, then chances are you're going to have a crosshair on your back, followed shortly by an army of hitmen that will come after you to highlight your issue over and over and over. Everywhere you look in this industry today, you'll find an outlet writing a piece on a game, dissecting every tiny component, blowing up every political issue, whether it was political to begin with or not, or hunting for a fresh angle to get their idea, conflict, which is often make-believe, or voice plastered on the front page of the internet, YouTube, or Twitter. No game can hide from today's critic because we are all critics. To the credit of the outspoken, we deserve to have our opinions shared though, especially when said issues speak to us politically or personally, and EA seems to be at the forefront of much of this hoopla. I'm sure a lot of people out there are not interested in the drama, myself included, but for the rest of the industry who is, there is no shortage of fighting on the picket line. And after digging my way into every source I could find, it's clear that the industry has a lot to say about EA. Gamers have definitely gone to war against EA. I'm sure much of it is just sport or simply people wanting to cash in on the hysteria, but deep down there's probably a lot of individuals out there with some valid points on topics of stuff like exploitation, honesty, fairness, gender equality, and more. But whatever the reason is though, it all boils down to the same arguments in the end. EA has done something wrong, and I want my voice heard. I'm not part of the movement that is happy to see the story of EA unfold in the way that it has, I'll just be honest. I don't celebrate the quote-unquote destruction of EA, and I don't enjoy seeing people making fun, taking stabs, making jokes, and just generally having a good time and taking joy in creating a hateful environment. In fact, I think a lot of the videos out there are overly dramatic pieces of propaganda, serving no purpose other than to stir up some sort of fairy tale fantasy and cash in on some quick views. I hate this part of the culture, and because the internet provides a safe environment free of most recourse, it invites them to do so. For the most part, I just want to look at the facts and not get wrapped up in the drama, but I am prepared to criticize EA when they do bad stuff. Make no mistake about it. Since the beginning of my channel, I've called them out on pretty much everything I've went over in this video, harshly at times, but I only do it out of tough love. I'm sure many outspoken people feel the same way I do in that regard. I don't like making negative videos about EA. It brings me no satisfaction because I'm not one to relish in the negativity. I celebrate the creation of good games, and I certainly don't take any satisfaction knowing that the next Battlefield game might suck, or that EA is getting flack even though they may have deserved it. I don't think anyone wants EA's games to fail. Honestly, because who would want that? Gamers play games, so it's in our best interest that they, be good games and not shit. I understand that EA has made some mistakes, in fact, to a grave extent at times. But how about we stop with the fairy tale drama and actually look at the facts? EA rakes in about $5 billion of revenue per year, and that number is rising every year. Their liquidity and cash flow situation is as good as you would want it to be, and rising, as well as their sales of digital and box copy video games. These are straight from the source. Most of EA's money comes from incremental DLC and micro-gambling payments from primarily their sports gaming catalog as well as the ongoing sales of said sports games. Everything else in their portfolio is what we call diversity, and even if those products don't do that well, FIFA and Madden pick up the slack without a problem. For instance, if you think that Battlefront 2's controversy cost them last year, then you may want to think again. It's a small dent in a very large pile of money. So long as EA continues to milk their sports gaming markets and corner the markets in the way they have been, they'll always be around, and they'll always be profitable. That's why I don't want EA to fail even though they tend to piss me off from time to time. EA will always be at the forefront of this industry because they have separated their business from the gaming industry. EA is a corporation, not just a video game maker. They are a diverse company that houses nearly 10,000 employees in control of over 25 mainland franchises from Titanfall, Battlefield, Star Wars, The Sims, Need for Speed, Madden, FIFA, Dragon Age, Dead Space, and Command & Conquer just to name a few. Like any smart business, they focus on expansion by acquiring smaller studios for cheap and put them to work immediately. They pursue, aggressively, exclusivity when it benefits them, and contracts for celebrity endorsements for their sports games. They are a well-oiled machine. Like any smart company, they've got a broad range of products bringing in a steady form of cash that they use to make more money. With so many avenues and revenue streams set in place, EA has built a foundational sound company with the proper safety nets put in place. If one piece of the system fails, aka maybe a Battlefront 2 controversy, another is there to compensate. Case in point, if Battlefield's pre-order sales are low, the revenue from Madden 19's in-game store will most certainly make up for it. If Titanfall 2 didn't sell as expected, it's made up for once again by FIFA's record-breaking sales. This is how EA operates. This is why you don't see EA going bankrupt like many small companies who fail to understand this basic business process. Diversification, product placement, protection. All of EA's avenues for its business are in support of one another and completely aligned in a practical sense. So while gamers continue to celebrate the quote-unquote death of EA, it's unlikely that will ever happen. They will probably remain the top dog in a variety of fields in this industry, as their massive conglomerate provides protection from any one misstep. I for one would prefer to see the future of EA's games to be great, because they aren't going anywhere anyway. This is the damn irony of EA. They're so good at building a successful business, yet they are not so good at everything else. Being stewards that lead by example, being a good community leader, driving the industry forward in an ethical way, communicating and treating customers well, not exploiting gamers, and not effing up their public image. It's a shame because if they fixed all that crap, they'd be one of the best and most beloved publishers in the industry, just like they were a long time ago. I think the best course of action for gamers is to remain active and persistent, which will help us get them to see what needs to be changed. Lately, that's been most certainly their attitudes and the way they address the public, case in point the Battlefield 5 statements, and the implementation of for-money paywall content in their games. And of course, the live gaming craze needs no introduction either. So has the death of EA begun? Have gamers been insulted and exploited one time too many, hungry for the next chance to jump on the EA hate train at every opportunity? Are gamers fed up with how EA's corporation conducts itself, feeling like they've been left out in the dust, yet being the bleeding hearts of what supports them? Or are they immune from failure, given all the great performance they've had in the last few years, despite the bumps in the road? You guys let me know down below in the comments section. Have a great day, guys, and thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys in our next video.